Hello viewers, welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of the front pocket wallet tutorial. As you can see, I'm outside today. It's a little warmer, maybe in the 50s, I don't know, high 50s. It's still pretty cold, but I have more room out here, and I want to show how I'm going to put these interior pieces together on this tan pigskin, because it shows up real well in the camera, and you can see all my mistakes, but so you don't make them yourself. As you can see, I've done a couple of initial stitches. Here you can see I've stitched the see-through vinyl to the ID card pocket, and I've also placed and stitched the bottom of the T-pocket to the interior piece of the wallet. And now what's going to happen is I'm going to glue the second pocket here, line it up and glue it, and then I'll stitch vertically from top to bottom, or bottom to top. And that'll take care of that part of the wallet. And then on this part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up on the bottom, which gives me a little extra room above that ID card pocket. But first, I'm going to stitch vertically from the top of the ID card pocket down to the bottom of the ID card pocket. This will be one piece after I make that stitch, and then I'll move it over to the interior panel, glue it down here, make a stitch across the top, and a stitch vertically here. So all this will be glued and stitched together. So let me do that so I can show you how it's going to go. As you can see, I've now glued these two pockets together. One thing you got to watch out for, sometimes if you don't get this top pocket straight, or this second edge, they won't exactly match up. You can have a little bit of fudge factor, but obviously if it gets too big a gap, it doesn't look right. The other thing is when you're getting ready to attach the ID card pocket to the back hidden pocket, make sure not to glue the top edge. It happens because you get busy doing something and you may forget and glue all four sides, and then you can't get your ID card in there, or you'll have to pull apart the glue on top, and that can be pretty messy. So remember, this side, and the bottom, and then it's going to go right here aligned on the bottom. Let me get that done and show y'all. Now we can see this is all glued up. I've glued this side, the bottom, and this side, and I'm not using a huge amount of glue because I just want this tacky enough to hold it while I sew it. The glue will not be in any way holding this together. This will all be sewn together, and now that I have this glued, I'll show y'all that this will get placed here and then sewn to the interior panel. So we'll come back and do that, and after all the stitching is made, then you're going to bond another piece of pigskin or nylon or something to the back of this. As you can see in this finished one, This is pigskin on the interior, pigskin pockets, pigskin ID card holder, but on the back it's regular vinyl. And that was done purposefully to save money, just because I have the nylon and I don't have a lot of the black pigskin. This is a mission grain pigskin from Tandy, which I prefer. It also comes in brown. I think I have some brown here. Yeah, there's a mission grain in brown, and as you can see here, there's a little cut in this pigskin. That's okay, because that's going to be, once again, it's going to be covered by this pocket, and then on the back there'll be another piece of pigskin bonded to this one, so you'll never see that little hole. So let me actually I got to get this one glued up too, so I'm going to glue this one up and show you all this one. Alright, that's all glued up. This one's all glued up, and we'll come back, and next thing we'll do is put this piece onto the interior and sew it all up. Stay tuned. I have my brown thread loaded up into the sewing machine, and I got my light situated so I can see what I'm doing. And what I'll do is I'll start by making a mark with, I usually like to use chalk, or I use a very fine pen. So this is the one I'm using. I don't know, Precise V5. It makes a nice thin extra fine line so that I can follow a straight line with the machine. Otherwise, it's very easy to get off track with this machine. If you watch my other videos about this Chinese sewing machine, I always do a couple test passes on some scrap material before I start sewing on my project. Let me mark these up, and I'll show you after I mark them how they look, and we'll get to sewing. So first up, I'm going to be sewing this accent onto this pocket. As you can see, I have a thick chalk line there, so plenty of room to stay within the line. And I'll start sewing a back stitch first, and then I'll turn the piece around and sew it, and then I'll sew a back stitch at the back. This chalk will wash right off, either with just a sponge, or you can brush it off, and it goes away pretty completely. It doesn't stay on the thread that much, so I'll show you that once I'm done. So this didn't quite go exactly as expected, and it happens. The stitch started here, and then slowly I crawled down to the bottom instead of staying at the top of the chalk mark. So I already took off the chalk mark. You can still see a faint line there, and unfortunately, you know, I like the stitch level. I mean, I want to see a level stitch. I want to see it looking good. So this will probably be used for something else, and I'll make another one. And here I'm going to try and stitch this along that chalk line, and with this it's a little more important that I stay straight, because on this particular brown thread you can see it really well on this brown pigskin. So let me get to stitching this. As you can see here, I have the piece facing me. It's because I always do my back stitch first. I'll do a couple back stitches, and then I'll turn the piece around and start sewing forward. And then on the other end I'll do the same thing. I always want to make sure the stitches are locked. And here's that stitch done before I've removed the chalk. So let me get this chalk off and I'll show you that stitch, how it turned out. And now the seam is made. So this will now be sewn onto the interior of the front pocket wallet. And all that's left is sewing this top part and this side to attach it to the interior panel of the front pocket wallet. On this tan I need a much finer line. I'm using the Precise V5, so I'll try and follow along that line with my stitch, and that should look pretty good. And it appears that stitch turned out pretty nice. That'll be great. So I'll be able to now attach this to this one to its interior piece. Okay, bear with all the background noise here. Now that we have this sewn, we're gonna glue 3 sides of it. We're gonna glue along this side, the bottom, and the top, leaving the side with the stitch with no glue. When we attach it to the front pocket wallet interior panel, we'll be able to slide cards into this side. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, as you can see, I've glued the bottom, the side, and the top, but not this side where the stitch is, because that's where the cards or whatever you want to put in behind the ID card slot will fit. So it's kind of like a hidden pocket. You know, not really hidden, but kind of hidden. Anyway, so now I'm going to do this one. I'm going to glue the bottom, the side, and the top, but not the part where the stitch is, because that's where the cards will slide in. So let me get this one done. Okay, so that's all set, and that's all set, and now we'll let these dry for a while, let the glue set up, and then I'll start stitching. I'm going to make a stitch on top, a stitch on the side, and those will be ready, and then I can attach the back of either I'll put nylon here or more pigskin liner. I haven't decided which. I want to make sure I record this. I'm not sure if I had recorded it before. I'm getting ready to glue the front or the face of the front pocket wallet that has the card slots to the backing. And then the backing, what will happen with that is it will face the backing on the outer portion of the front pocket wallet. Let me show you that. Once I trim the excess off this and then made it with the outside, then when you open the billfold, it'll be 2 pieces of the same interior that'll face each other. So, and then of course this will be the same color as the interior pockets. But so what I did was I used some Fabric Fusion, and be careful if you use this type of glue. It bonds to everything, and it's water-based, so it's not thick, and it tends to get all over the place. And if it gets on any kind of suede or anything else, it can potentially ruin it. So you have to be very careful with this type of glue. Now it's all spread around, and I'm going to mate the two pieces and then going to hold pressure on them for a good few minutes, and just to make sure they're totally bonded, and then let that set up. There we go. And remember, you're going to have some waste here. It's always better to cut one of the mating pieces bigger than the other one, and you can trim to fit. Because remember, you can always take away, but you can't add more material. So you don't want to get a piece that's smaller than your interior pocket, and then that's just going to be waste. You'll have to cut it into something else. So it's wasted time, wasted money, and wasted pigskin. So this one I cut it not too much over, but a little bit over to make sure that I can cut it down to the correct size. And then once I do that, I'll mate these with the exterior, like I said, and then that'll be done. It'll be a front pocket wallet, and I'll sew it up, and that's it.